What if the trash you see every day could become the most magical part of your garden? Today, I'll show you how ordinary bottles, stones, and even old tires can be transformed into fairy garden borders and upcycled yard hacks you'll wish you had tried sooner. Welcome to Modhouse DIY, where creativity meets sustainability. This video is filled with inspiring DIY projects, and we've added timestamps so you can jump to the parts you need. If something sparks your curiosity, leave a comment. I'd love to hear your ideas. And remember, you don't need perfect tools or endless budgets. With a little creativity, you can make beauty from what you already have. To you, this may look like just another video on your screen, but behind it, there's a real dream, a real family, and a hope that your support keeps alive. Every like, every comment, every subscribe, it truly matters. When you click subscribe, you're not only helping a creator grow, you're helping a dream continue. Thank you for being here. Thank you for seeing me. There is a certain kind of magic that happens when ordinary stones are gathered and given shape. In the backyard, where grass meets soil and flowers push their way to the sun, a ring of stones can transform into something that feels alive, like a gate to a fairy's home. Stone fairy ring borders are more than just decoration. They hold space, they frame beauty, and they give a timeless weight to fragile blooms. Imagine kneeling down in the cool morning air, your hands selecting stones from a nearby pile. Some are smooth, washed by rain over the years, while others are rough, carrying the memory of the earth they came from. You place them one by one, each stone leaning slightly against the other, until they create a perfect circle. Inside, you fill the soil with bright lavender, cheerful daisies, or even edible herbs like thyme and basil. Suddenly, the garden feels as though it belongs in a storybook. The technique is simple, yet rewarding. Start by choosing a spot where you want your circle to sit, perhaps at the edge of a flower bed or in the middle of a small yard. Clear the grass and mark the shape of your circle. Collect stones of similar size. River stones or field stones are ideal. Place the larger stones first as anchors, then fit the smaller ones in between, pressing them slightly into the soil so they stay steady even after rain. Finally, enrich the soil inside the ring and plant your chosen flowers or herbs. By afternoon, as the sun warms the stones and butterflies rest upon the petals, you'll see how a humble border can create an entire mood. It feels rustic and ancient, like something left behind by gentle hands long ago. A stone fairy ring border isn't just a craft, it's an invitation to dream, to pause, and to let a touch of whimsy live in your garden. Trash, when looked at differently, has the power to bloom. What was once a pile of discarded plastic bottles can, with a touch of imagination, become a bright line of flowers that never fade. Plastic bottle bloom edging is a joyful, practical way to recycle while bringing bursts of color to any garden corner. It feels playful, like a child's drawing come alive along the soil. Picture yourself collecting bottles of different shapes after a family gathering. You rinse them clean, and with scissors you begin cutting the tops into petal shapes. As the plastic bends, it reveals its hidden potential. A splash of paint turns a dull bottle into a vibrant daisy, a bold sunflower, or even a gentle tulip. One by one, these creations are pressed into the soil to form a border, bright guards standing over your vegetables or fairy flowers. The technique is simple. Choose bottles of equal height for consistency. Cut the tops into wide or narrow petals depending on the flower style you want. Use outdoor acrylic paint for bold colors that resist fading in sunlight. Once painted and dried, push each bottle base slightly into the soil, ensuring they stay upright and stable. For extra durability, you can fill the bottom of each bottle with a little sand or pebbles to weigh them down. Soon, your backyard transforms into a parade of color. Children passing by stop and smile, wondering if real flowers could ever be so bright. The edging helps define paths and garden beds, but it also whispers a gentle truth. Beauty can grow from what others throw away. Under the afternoon sun, when the painted blooms catch the light, it feels like your garden has been touched by a rainbow. Plastic bottle bloom edging doesn't just decorate. It teaches us to see possibility in everything, even the smallest scraps of yesterday's trash. There's a special joy in turning something heavy and forgotten into a character that makes a garden smile. Old tires, once destined for the landfill, can be reborn as whimsical critters that guard your flowers and entertain the eyes of anyone passing by. These tire critters bring a sense of play, a touch of fairy tale magic, and a bold splash of color into the garden. Imagine a tire, black and worn, leaning in the corner of a shed. With a bit of paint and patience, it becomes something new. A bumblebee buzzing between flowers, a ladybug resting in the grass, or even a wide-eyed owl keeping watch at dusk. Children laugh when they see them. Neighbors stop to ask how you did it. And suddenly your backyard becomes a stage for imagination. The technique is surprisingly easy. Begin by cleaning the tire thoroughly and letting it dry. Choose outdoor spray paint or acrylic paint to create your base color. Yellow for a bee, red for a ladybug, or any bright shade for your chosen character. Add details with brushes, stripes, spots, big cartoon eyes. For sturdiness, place the tire half buried in the soil or screw it onto a simple wooden base so it won't tip over. Some gardeners like to plant flowers or herbs in the hollow space inside the tire, turning the critter into both decoration and planter. As the seasons change, the critters remain, cheerful companions to your blooming beds. In summer, they shine under the bright sun. In autumn, they sit proudly among fallen leaves. And in spring, they look like they've been waiting for the flowers to return. They are not just decorations, but storytellers, reminding us that trash can take on a second life when shaped with care. Whimsical tire critters invite color, laughter, and creativity into the garden. They make the yard feel less like a patch of soil and more like a living, breathing fairy tale, where even an old tire can turn into a friend. When the sun sets and the garden begins to quiet, there is a special magic in lights that flicker softly against the night. Bottle tower fence lights are not just about illumination. They are about turning discarded glass into a glowing sculpture that brings warmth, character, and a fairy-like presence to your backyard. Imagine the fence at dusk, plain and silent in daylight, now shimmering with towers of bottles stacked neatly in vertical lines. Each bottle captures the light, refracting it in shades of green, amber, or clear crystal. What was once trash from yesterday's drinks now becomes a lantern that tells stories after dark. The process is simple and satisfying. Start by collecting bottles of similar size and washing them until they shine. Use a metal rod or strong wooden dowel fixed securely into the ground or attached to the fence. Slide the bottles one by one over the rod, stacking them like beads until you reach the height you want. Inside or around the bottles, thread solar-powered fairy lights or waterproof LED strings. As the last rays of the day fade, these towers begin to glow, softly at first, then brighter as the night deepens. You can keep the bottles natural for a rustic look, or paint them with translucent outdoor glass paint for a stained glass effect. Some crafters even cut simple shapes, stars, flowers, or hearts, into the surface, letting beams of light spill in playful patterns across the garden. Standing at the edge of a patio or along a narrow yard, the bottle towers transform the atmosphere. They make late summer evenings feel like a celebration, autumn nights cozy and welcoming, and even in winter they hold a promise of warmth. Bottle tower fence lights are more than DIY decor. They are proof that beauty can shine from the humblest of objects, and that a garden can be just as alive at night as it is under the midday sun. There is a quiet magic in walking along a path that feels alive beneath your feet. A mosaic stone butterfly path brings that enchantment into the garden, transforming ordinary walkways into works of art that celebrate nature and imagination. Each step becomes part of a story, as though fairies themselves laid out the stones to guide you deeper into their world. Picture bending down with a basket of smooth pebbles collected from riversides or bought in mixed colors. You arrange them on the ground, shaping wings that spread outward like a butterfly resting on the soil. Darker stones form the outlines, while bright blues, warm oranges, and pale whites fill the patterns inside. Slowly, the ground begins to sparkle as though sunlight itself has been trapped within the stones. The method is practical and creative. Begin by marking the area of the path where you want the butterfly to appear. Dig a shallow layer of soil out, and fill it with sand or cement mix as a base. Sketch the butterfly shape directly into the surface or use a cardboard stencil to guide you. Place larger stones for the wing borders first, then fill in the details with smaller pebbles, bits of colored glass, or even broken tiles. Press each piece firmly so they set well into the base. When dry, sweep fine sand between the cracks to lock everything in place. As the sun moves overhead, the mosaic shines differently. Bright in the morning, glowing softly in the afternoon, and mysterious under moonlight. Flowers planted nearby, such as lavender or roses, add fragrance and color to the walk, making the butterfly seem even more alive. This pathway is more than decoration. It's a promise that your garden is not only for growing, but also for dreaming. A mosaic stone butterfly path reminds us that beauty is not just in the blooms above the soil, but also in the steps we take along it. There is something breathtaking about walking beneath an arch that glows with every color of the rainbow. When made from recycled bottles, this structure becomes more than just a garden feature. It becomes a symbol of transformation, turning discarded plastic into a passage filled with joy and light. Rainbow bottle garden arches invite you to step into the garden as though entering another world. Imagine sorting through bottles, washing them until they shine, then painting each one in vivid shades of red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and violet. The bottles are then slipped onto metal rods or sturdy wires, carefully bent into a graceful curve. As they line up, the arch begins to take form, tall enough to walk under, bright enough to catch every glance. When the sun hits at midday, the bottles glow like stained glass windows, scattering colored light onto the path below. The technique is straightforward but rewarding. Choose strong support rods or a welded frame to carry the weight of the bottles. Drill small holes in the bottle bottoms if threading is needed, or simply slide neck first onto vertical rods. Anchor the base deep in the soil or secure it with concrete, so the arch remains stable through wind and weather. Plant climbing flowers such as morning glories or ivy at the base, so in time the bottles shine through a living frame of green vines and blossoms. By evening, when the day softens, the rainbow arch continues to stand proudly, catching the last golden rays of sunlight. Visitors smile as they pass beneath it, and children often pause to touch the glowing plastic, surprised that something so ordinary could feel so magical. Rainbow bottle garden arches are proof that creativity can turn trash into treasure. They invite color into even the smallest backyard, reminding us that every step into the garden should feel like stepping into a story. In the quiet of a garden, sometimes it feels as though unseen guests might stop by, fairies, perhaps, or the gentle spirits of the flowers themselves. Many stone fairy thrones capture that feeling, giving shape to seats that no one may ever use, yet everyone can imagine. They are humble sculptures that turn a garden bed into a stage for imagination. Picture yourself selecting smooth, flat stones from a pile. One becomes the seat, another the backrest, and smaller ones stack neatly to form arms. Bit by bit, the stones balance into something more than a pile. They become a throne, tiny and regal, waiting patiently beneath the flowers. Moss creeps into the cracks, softening the look, while fallen petals decorate the seat like offerings. The method is playful and grounding. Begin with flat stones or broken pavers for stability. Set the largest piece into the soil as the seat, pressing it down firmly. Use smaller stones to build the backrest, leaning them slightly for support. Add armrests if the shape allows, or decorate with shells, pebbles, or bits of glass for detail. For extra steadiness, you can glue stones with outdoor adhesive, but often the weight of the rocks themselves is enough. Place the throne in a shady corner, near flowers that bloom low, so it feels like part of a secret world. When the sunlight shifts in the afternoon, the throne casts a small shadow, and it's easy to believe someone might sit there when you aren't looking. Children often crouch to see it up close, inventing stories about who might use the chair. Even adults can't help but smile at its quiet charm. Many stone fairy thrones aren't just borders or accents, they're invitations. They ask you to pause, to imagine, and to let your garden be more than soil and plants. With just a few stones, you create a seat for wonder itself. Every garden has room for a touch of play, and sometimes the simplest objects carry the most joy. A hanging tire fairy swing is both nostalgic and magical, transforming an old tire into a symbol of carefree afternoons and storybook wonder. With a little paint and imagination, what was once trash becomes a centerpiece of laughter and charm in the backyard. Picture a tall tree at the garden's edge, its branches reaching out like open arms. From one sturdy limb hangs a tire, freshly painted in soft pastel or bright rainbow shades. It sways gently in the breeze, creaking slightly as though whispering secrets of summers long ago. Flowers bloom beneath it, daisies, roses, or lavender, turning the ground into a soft carpet for anyone who comes near. The technique is straightforward but requires care. Start by cleaning the tire thoroughly, removing dirt and old rubber residue. Paint it with outdoor-safe acrylic or spray paint in a color that matches your garden's mood, perhaps pastel pink for a whimsical touch, or bold yellow for sunshine energy. Use strong rope or chain to secure the tire to a thick tree branch, making sure knots are tight and the swing hangs evenly. For extra stability, line the inside with a wooden board to create a flat seat, or leave it open for a classic swing feel. Once installed, the swing becomes more than decoration. Children run to it instantly, climbing in and out, while adults often find themselves swaying slowly, remembering their own childhood summers. In the evening, you can even wrap fairy lights around the rope, letting the swing glow softly under the stars. The hanging tire fairy swing is not just recycled decor, it's a memory in motion. It's a way to invite joy back into a garden, to give laughter a place to live, and to remind everyone who sees it that magic often hides in the simplest things. Water has always carried a sense of life and motion, but not every garden can host a real stream. Bottle waterfall borders bring that illusion into the backyard, transforming simple recycled bottles into a flowing ribbon of glass that looks as though water has frozen mid-fall. It's whimsical, creative, and surprisingly simple to build. Picture a flower bed edged not with plain bricks, but with bottles angled downward, neck to soil, each one catching the sunlight in blue, green, or clear hues. The border curves gently, shimmering as the day shifts. From a distance, it appears as though a river of glass has been captured and laid gently along the earth. Flowers behind it, lavender, marigolds, or wild roses, add to the sense of life flowing outward. The method is easy to follow. Gather bottles of similar size, preferably in shades that mimic water, greens, blues, or even clear. Wash them well and remove labels for a clean look. Dig a shallow trench along the edge of your bed or path. Place each bottle at a slight angle, neck buried into the soil, tilting all in the same direction so they look like a cascade. Pack the soil firmly around the bottles to keep them secure. For an added effect, paint some bottles with translucent glass paint in different aqua tones, giving variety to the flow. Once installed, the border is sturdy, weather-resistant, and eye-catching. When sunlight strikes, the bottles glow like droplets, creating a lively sparkle. At night, you can tuck small solar fairy lights behind them, turning the waterfall into a glowing river that guides your steps through the garden. Bottle waterfall borders remind us that recycling is not only practical, it can also be poetic. They turn trash into treasure, bringing the motion of water without a drop of it flowing. A border like this makes a small yard feel alive, playful, and touched by imagination. As the sun sinks and shadows stretch across the garden, something magical begins to glow. Mushrooms, crafted from simple stones, suddenly come alive with a gentle light, transforming the yard into a place that feels both enchanted and inviting. Glow-in-the-dark stone mushrooms are more than decoration. They are small beacons of wonder, created from the humblest of materials. Imagine kneeling on the soil in the late afternoon, painting smooth stones with luminous outdoor paint. Some stones become wide caps, others sturdy stems. When stacked together, they form tiny mushrooms that look as though they've grown straight out of a fairy tale. By day, they add playful shapes and earthy charm. But when night falls, their secret shines. They glow softly, like lanterns hidden among the flowers. The process is simple yet rewarding. Select smooth, round stones for the caps and slightly elongated ones for the stems. Use strong outdoor adhesive to fix the pieces together. Once dry, paint the caps with layers of glow-in-the-dark paint. Green, aqua, or soft blue shades work beautifully. The paint absorbs sunlight during the day and releases it gently in the dark. Place the mushrooms along pathways, in flower beds, or tucked under shrubs, where their glow can surprise and delight anyone walking past. Children love to discover them on warm evenings, pointing with excitement at the glowing shapes. Adults often pause too, charmed by the idea that discarded stones could become living light. In larger numbers, these mushrooms can guide the way through a garden path, acting as natural glowing markers without the need for wires or plugs. Glow-in-the-dark stone mushrooms prove that recycling is not only practical, but also magical. They invite curiosity, spark stories, and bring a quiet sense of wonder to even the smallest patch of soil. At night, when the garden rests, these glowing caps remind you that beauty does not end with the day. It simply changes its form. every garden, there is a place where tender seedlings need a little extra care, a warm pocket to help them grow strong. Bottle Fairy greenhouses offer just that: protection, charm, and a touch of whimsy, all built from bottles that might otherwise have been thrown away. They are tiny shelters that make the garden feel alive with purpose and creativity. Picture yourself saving clear bottles, washing them carefully, and cutting the bottoms so they can be stacked. Side by side, they form transparent walls, glowing as the sunlight passes through. Inside, rows of young herbs or vegetables stretch their leaves, enjoying the warmth while safe from cold winds. From a distance, it looks like something out of a storybook, a greenhouse built by fairies, shimmering softly in the afternoon sun. The technique is simple but effective. Collect dozens of clear plastic bottles of the same size. Cut off the bottoms and slot them together like cylinders, threading them onto bamboo sticks or wooden stakes for stability. Arrange these columns side by side to form walls, then add a slanted roof with more bottles or recycled plastic sheets. Anchor the structure firmly into the soil, and you have a durable mini greenhouse that keeps warmth inside while letting rain slide off. By spring, seedlings thrive within their clear walls: lettuce, spinach, basil, or even small tomato plants. The bottles hold warmth during the day and release it slowly at night, helping the plants grow stronger than if they were left in the open. Children find it fascinating to peek inside, as if peering into a hidden house made just for plants. Bottle Fairy greenhouses are not only practical, but also magical. They prove that recycling can nurture life directly, turning waste into a cradle for growth. When you see your first harvest from inside its glowing walls, it feels less like a DIY project and more like a gift from the garden itself. Not every garden has space for a full pond, yet the calm of water can still be brought into even the smallest yard. Rustic tire pond planters are a clever way to combine recycling with serenity, transforming an old tire into a miniature water garden filled with beauty and life. They are quiet sanctuaries, where reflections shimmer and flowers float. Imagine an old tire, once rolling endlessly on the road, now resting firmly in the soil. Its hollow center becomes a frame for still water. Inside, water lilies stretch their broad leaves, lotus buds open slowly, and perhaps even a few koi swim lazily below the surface. Around the rim, moss creeps in and marigolds lean toward the water, curious companions to this hidden world. The technique is both practical and inspiring. Start by choosing a sturdy tire and giving it a thorough clean. Bury it halfway into the ground so it feels stable. Then line the inside with a strong waterproof liner or pond plastic. Fill with water, add a layer of smooth pebbles at the bottom, and arrange aquatic plants like lilies or floating hyacinths. If you wish, introduce small fish for movement and life, though even without them, the water alone reflects the sky beautifully. You can leave the tire natural for a rustic look, or paint it in muted earthy tones to blend with the garden. Placing stones or driftwood around the edge enhances the natural feel, making it look like the pond has always been there. At dusk, the water mirrors the fading light, and by morning, dragonflies hover over the surface, drawn to the quiet charm. Rustic tire pond planters show us that even heavy, forgotten things can hold grace. They bring the calm of water into everyday spaces, inviting birds, insects, and people alike to pause. With one simple transformation, trash becomes a pond of life, and a backyard becomes a sanctuary.